Another day, another Derby profile. Today's episode is going to be on Tapit Trice. Let's go. First, as always, we got the stats, and Tapit Trice statistically is a pretty good-looking horse, with 5 career starts, 4 wins, and 1/3, and earnings of $883,650. It doesn't get much better than that. When it comes to his major races, he has 2 big ones, and both of them are major Derby preps. First was his win in the Tampa Bay Derby, which got him 50 points, and then the 100 points he got from the Toyota Bluegrass Stakes, making him a Grade 1 winner and one of the highest earning Kentucky Derby horses. For highest speed figure, going into the Bluegrass, Tapit Trice was one of the slower Kentucky Derby contenders, with a 92 coming out of the Tampa Bay Derby. But then, in his most recent performance, he really turned it up a notch, getting a 99 according to the DRF in the Bluegrass Stakes, which ranks pretty well compared to other major Derby contenders, and solidifies that he isn't just a slowpoke. Transitioning onto running style, I'm pretty excited to talk about this. Tapit Trice is a closer, but more specifically, he is what we call a bicycle horse. A horse that you cannot let up on the pedal. You have to keep him accelerating and gaining momentum, or else you are not going to get it back. Tapit Trice will usually go to the outside almost immediately. Even when he's in post position number 1, he will always find a way to get to the outside. After getting to the outside, he'll just keep on getting faster and faster as the race progresses, wearing down everybody and getting to the wire first. Despite the ground that he does end up inevitably losing around turns, it's yet to fail him in all but one of his races, so it's safe to say that he's got the strategy down pat. When it comes to strength, I'd say his best one is most definitely the fact that the longer the race goes, the more of a threat he is going to be for everybody else. While the frontrunners get slower, Tapit Trice is only going to get faster, which could definitely result in a late closing victory. Maybe not something as extreme as Giacomo, but definitely something to look out for. And even if it's not a victory, he definitely will be coming home late if he's guided properly. And also, even though the Tampa Bay Derby was very far back and didn't have the greatest field, it did prove that he did know how to navigate a big herd. With 12 horses in the race, it did show that he could win with bigger sized fields, something he hadn't done before. And in the Bluegrass Stakes, it also proved that he could be more forwardly placed. He didn't have to do a radical last to first thing. He could just be sort of mid-pack towards the tail end and still be able to pass almost everybody by the time they reach the top of the stretch and then just outfight the last horse left. So, while his general strategy of going to the outside and mowing down everybody stays the same, the fact that he can close from multiple different positions is a great nuance to have. Whether it's as far back as dead last or just halfway through the pack, it still works for him. And that begs the question, is there any way to stop such a long striding, gradually accelerating locomotive? Well, the most obvious answer would be halting the momentum. And the one thing that'll get Tapit Trice stopped right in his tracks is if he gets pinned on the rail. Because the one thing he hates more than anything is kickback. Which isn't a good thing when you're a closer and you have tons of horses ahead of you. That's why Tapit Trice always has to go to the outside and lose ground around turns. Because if he's stuck between horses, he'll get dirt in his face and he might get disheveled. That's how he lost his only race so far, and that's how he could lose the Kentucky Derby. So if he gets a poor post position, it's going to be very hard for him to get to the outside like he wants. And that's not helped by the fact that he's not a good breaker. That's partially the reason why he's a closer in the first place. He breaks slowly. It's not necessarily because it's his favorite strategy, but just the cards he's been dealt with. Now, ultimately, it is horse racing, so whether this happens or not is going to be luck-based. But that is the biggest thing that would stop Tapit Trice. His kryptonite, if you will. And that concludes this episode of Derby Profile. Overall, I would say that Tapit Trice has one great strategy, but also one great weakness. And for that, I give Tapit Trice a A- grade. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Comment down which horses I should put in the triage, and see you guys next time.